Big weekend for Kendrick Lamar, not just because he won more Grammys for a single song than the person the song is about, but because Humble was played at the Emirates at full time. There isn't enough water in the world that could wash away Pep's reality right now. Say what you want about Arsenal, they are still in with a chance and are at the very least putting consistent pressure on Liverpool. Unbeaten in the league since November, and with a 5-star performance like that, who even needs Bukayo Saka? Liverpool continue their charge to the promised land, beating the most dangerous Bournemouth side in ages, a team that pissed Nottingham Forest off so much they decided to score 7 goals with 37% possession. Moyes was clearly the missing piece of the puzzle because Everton is on the rise, just in time for the Merseyside derby. I think Manchester United played this weekend, but I can't be too sure. Hello, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Alright guys, football talk aside, it's been a pretty crazy weekend. Luka Doncic goes to the Lakers, the sort of trade that doesn't even happen in 2K. Somebody get a microphone in front of Mark Cuban immediately. And if you ever think people don't like you, just remember that at least a song calling you crazy things I can't say on YouTube didn't win the highest honor the music industry gives to individual records. This is an elite tier violation that's gonna carry over until the end of time. And literally next week, we're gonna have the world singing it at the Super Bowl. How does one recover from this? From one defeated man to another, we're getting a Guardiola 1,000-yard stare every game now. Lethargic, mistake-prone, we'll get into all of that just now. A lot of people thought that thanks to some positive recent results that they've turned a bit of a corner. I think it's fair to say that that is not the case. Arsenal-Man City has been the fixture of the year for the last 2 years. The reverse fixture earlier in this year was a draw, but filled with fire. We got quotes, we got antics, we got the beginning of the fall of an empire. The stakes were different in the most recent edition, but they're still pretty high. Arsenal were, of course, very much the favourites to take this match away at the Emirates and all that. And like I said, for all the flack and criticism that Arsenal have been getting over the course of the season from opposition fans, from media, from all of that, from all sorts of directions about how they take too much time at corners, they might be too reliant on corners, they talk about officiating a lot. Whatever you have to say. They are in second place right now and have pretty good value for it because they've been there for the majority of the year. Their injury record this year has rivaled the worst records in the league this season. Their 2 most important players have both been injured at one point simultaneously. They don't have an out-and-out striker, but here they stand. Mikel Arteta is good at his job. Instead, next week, if things don't go their way, then the Arteta out crowd will come in pretty loud and heavy. I'm pretty sure. It's the world we live in. Anyway, let's get into the game. For the second week in a row, City have conceded a goal within the first 2 minutes, and it's quite alarming that both of those goals stemmed from almost exactly the same thing. A defender is on the ball in a situation they've been in probably countless times at this level. They misjudge a touch, and the opposition is through. Simple stuff. Manuel Akanji was the culprit here, and honestly, Arsenal just boxed him in. He can't go back to his keeper, so he panics, turns into Trossard, and it all falls apart. Hats off to Rice for the quickness of the ball to have it before setting up Ødegaard. City just couldn't seem to get the ball through the middle for the entirety of the match due to how congested and small Arsenal made the field. As is customary at this point, Erling Haaland was being shepherded by Gabriel and Saliba with 10 touches in the entire game and only 1 shot on target, a 1-touch finish. Those 2 mostly locked him out of the Emirates. I'll say it again, Arsenal did what Chelsea failed to do against City last weekend. They realized that this team is just a ticking time bomb of nerves when it comes to playing in their own half, particularly out from the back. All these City defenders just look like they're overthinking every single step when they're on the ball. So when Chelsea gave them the option of not needing to play through them and just hoofing it over the top, they were in a happy place. Arsenal had about 38% possession in the first half, I believe, but they always looked like they were in control. Mikel Arteta realized that all he had to do was let City have the ball as much as they want, and they were going to make mistakes. Which they did. Anyway, compare Erling Haaland's 10 touches to Kai Havertz, who had 37 touches all game. When Havertz missed one of the most wide open chances of the whole game, I was convinced that City were about to make a comeback. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it didn't happen. In fact, Havertz ended up showing us why he's so important to this team. His front press was relentless, his runs weren't being tracked all that well by City's defense, and then he scores his eventual goal. A much harder chance than the one he missed, but thankfully, for his sake, we don't have to talk too much about that miss. Listen, Arsenal definitely need a striker. However, and ironically, I'll use a point here that I used in a video I made on Havertz a couple months ago about how Arsenal perhaps didn't need an out-and-out striker because they have him. He's perfect for what Arteta is trying to achieve. You need to play negative and have someone chase shadows all game long, he'll do it. You need to play intricate and have those subtle 1-2s around the box with the other progressors of the ball, he'll do it. You need some physicality, he can do that too. You just can't finish. Finding a striker that fulfills all those criteria, has all those skills, would be extremely difficult to do. Someone that can do all those things, but also has that relentless chip on their shoulder, that mean streak to keep scoring goals over and over, without also taking goals away from other people. Because remember, that's what it's all about, right? Scoring goals. Arsenal already score a lot of goals. They score the second most in the league so far. Liverpool has 56 and they have about 49 or 48. So going out and getting that, 25 to 30 goal a season striker would obviously increase their scoring output individually, but from a whole team perspective, I don't know. Some people have suggested that Arsenal would probably be better off getting a high-scoring left winger that more of an inside forward, but those are probably equally as rare as finding someone that's a striker that fits all the criteria that they need. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. Before the match, there was a lot of emphasis on Phil Foden's improvement in January. He scores 1 goal in the entire first half of the season, and then in January alone, he scored 6 goals. We go from that to him passing straight to Partey after Erling Haaland equalized for Arsenal to restore their lead in a moment where all City needed was calm. To be fair to Foden, there was a reverse angle of this pass that placed the referee right in front of him, blocking Partey partially from his line of sight. Of course, that's probably not that much of an excuse because he should be wary of his position on the field, where he's passing the ball into, and if he didn't know that Partey was there, he should have some sort of sixth sense of what kind of danger lies there. Anyway, I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Moving on to the Young Bucks. Miles Lewis-Skelly, 18 years old, one of the most exciting talents around, and Ethan Nwaneri, 17 years old, equally as much. Both of them had lovely games. Particularly Lewis-Skelly, that man is a fighter. He actually got his debut for Arsenal in the reverse fixture of this match at the Etihad. He got booked before even coming on because he was chirping the referee at one point. Haaland asks, who is this guy, in a scuffle at the end of the game that he got himself involved in. Then fast forward 5 months and he's scoring on his weaker foot and doing the Haaland celebration. But it's just so easy for him to score here. Surrounded by City players and they just allow him to run towards the box and sort his feet out. Nwaneri wrapped it all up nice and neat. The curl he gets on his finish is very satisfying. Odegaard, Partey, Rice, they were everywhere. An insane game from the Gunners all around. They should be proud. But a really uninspiring performance by City. I gotta tell you, it's really rare that you see this City side look so deflated and unmotivated after about the 60th minute or so. When that third goal went in, the Lewis-Skelly goal, they just didn't really care. Arsenal were running circles around them. The tricks were coming out, the flair was coming out. I think Martinelli's Brazilian passport must be up for renewal or something because he was trying a lot of things there. Kovacic was taking so much time on the ball instead of doing any quick release. Savinho and Marmoush were pretty ineffective all game. Savinho had a great moment with his assist for Erling Haaland. He swivels around on the edge of the box, gets it on his head. But other than that, they were kind of both in each other's spaces. It wasn't great. Tough day out for City. Sucks for them. And even worse, the shock value of these kinds of results is gone. Happy to say, no big referee drama. There was a moment I remember though where Odegaard caught, I think it was Bernardo Silva, and it was called a foul. It wasn't a foul. Bernardo Silva, captain on the day and also one of the worst losers in the league, was kicking out, making careless challenges, but was uncarded. And you know what? In my book, when it comes to Premier League standards, that's S tier. Joe Hart made some funny comments in his post-match analysis, shifting the focus of Arsenal's loss to the fact that Arsenal would usually be chasing City in the league and that this win has less significance than it would a year ago, given context. I can't really blame him. When my team's playing doo-doo ball, I also like to change the subject as quickly as possible. Speaking of which, Manchester United, yeah, maybe Arsenal should be more in the race than they are, but this is a video of praise, so let's stick to that. And this is where we stand. Arsenal, 6 points behind. City, 15. A big result, but let's be real. There is only one winner in this race. Liverpool took on probably the most informed team in the league other than themselves, Bournemouth, in the same stadium where they put 5 past Forest a week earlier. And I gotta tell you, that 2-0 scoreline, it doesn't tell the full picture. I mean, Liverpool probably did deserve the win. This penalty was a little bit questionable. Looks like Gakpo trips over himself. Mohamed Salah is on fire. He's probably gonna win the Golden Boot. Maybe he should win a bit more. But Bournemouth are probably kicking themselves because they easily could have gotten at least a point out of this one. Lots of opportunities not taken. Nonetheless, I don't think they should be kicking themselves too hard because there is just something about this Liverpool side. There's a sense of undeniability to them. Forest went back home licking their wounds and took that Bournemouth hammering personally. Brighton are no slouch of a team. Don't get me wrong, Fabian Hürzeler and his team are in a bit of a rough patch right now. This is back-to-back losses, I think. But they're better than 7-0, don't you think? Everything went wrong here. Big man Chris Wood's Ballon d'Or hunt goes on. Iberian Jack Grealish sealed off a match that arguably wasn't even the most shocking result of the weekend. Tottenham Hotspur have tasted victory in the league for the first time since December. It must be surreal. How far can they go, do you think? 10 points from relegation now. It's been a thrilling escape. The sky is the limit. Now all they need is to sign some players. Everton under Moyes are picking up a lot of steam. 4-0 to them against Leicester means they've now won 3 games in a row. That is huge. Moyes has only taken charge of them for 4 league games, and he already has as many wins as they managed to muster for the 20 games before that. Just in time for the Merseyside derby that was supposed to be played in December when Everton were in significantly worse form. Big congratulations to Southampton for their 2nd win of the season. They're gonna get relegated, but they're only 2 points away from not being named the worst Premier League side in history, and that is a reward in itself. And finally, a team that plays Mainu as a centre forward, while £100 million worth of fit centre forwards sit on the bench. I can't get a single normal week as a United fan, can I? Palace were just sharper than United all round. It was a 2-0 loss. Both of the goals came from Harry Maguire mistakes. The first one was from Maguire not being quick enough to a rebound. The second one was him trying to play an offside line and misjudging runs. But I'm not really gonna put too much blame on him there because the entire team was just physically overpowered throughout the entire game. Not at one point did I feel like we had the upper hand. It's tough. And then one of the most forward-thinking players in the team gets stretchered off in tears. Throwing in Marcus Rashford going off to Villa makes for a weekend to forget. Rashford did have to go. I think everyone's in agreement that this was the correct decision. He was coasting for way too long and there wasn't really any way back into the team for him. But this is also a guy that a lot of people have had faith in for over a decade now, and every year it's like this is going to be his year and then it just doesn't happen and now he's gone. So there's sadness in that. Like I said, this is the right move, especially with an option to buy and Villa covering up to 90% of his wages. But it doesn't feel great. Hopefully the next Man United generation will live up to expectations and actually do stuff for us. Please? And there we have it. Let me know what you guys thought about the most recent Premier League fixtures. Don't forget to subscribe, of course. That's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.